Hi there, it's David here, and today we're going to be talking about RuPaul's Drag Race Season 11, Episode 1. Little disclaimer, I am not a drag performer nor an expert on the world of drag, but I'm just a fan like y'all, and I want to share my opinions, start a discussion, and hear what you thought as well. Now, some of you guys might remember Foster, my remote correspondent from the great Minneapolis, and he's going to be calling in today to offer his 2 cents.
Thanks for having me. It's been a while. There's been a lot of Drag Race in our absentia, but eager to discuss some looks, some lack of excitement.
Great start. Who did you like out of the entrance looks into the workroom?
So I think our audience in general has picked up on the fact that I like to hone in on flaws more, so I'm going to start with the looks that I did not enjoy. Honey, I really did not enjoy Honey's silhouette. I thought the hip area looked crunkled and unnatural. And she is someone who I expect to be able to deliver a look, especially one with absolutely no pressure on it like the entrance look. So this is bad.
This concept really followed through in her Meet the Queens, like that plastic transparent, because it's a similar like bee homage. Did her face, I know that it's your pet peeve to like be derivative and say that queens remind you of past queens, but the face is really giving me BB. Just like the dark lip and the structure of the eye makeup really gives me BB Zahara Benet.
I guess I could see that. A lighter lip and more like amber and yellow tones in the makeup would have been better. It's too heavy. Yeah,
and now knowing what we know of her like personality, this doesn't really represent her as a queen as far as like what I've seen so far.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Okay, but let's keep it moving. I didn't like Honey's look. I don't think it was a disaster, but I didn't enjoy it. Scarlett, I thought Scarlett's look was pretty terrible. The best thing about this whole look was the boob contour. The way that she like contoured and did her makeup isn't bad, but it did not minimize any of her like boxy masculine features. I don't get the weird ball hanging out around the crotch. Which obfuscates from your view the fact that she's wearing a weird gold thong that is also disconnected from the whole look. I didn't get any of this. I didn't like it.
There was like this weird anime music montage, and the like thong bead element was present in that, so maybe she's borrowing from anime and is a fan. Although it wasn't like the side. This is like a disco ball. It's not just like a little bead. Anyway,
I think you're making excuses when there really aren't any excuses.
I mean, this look is terrible. I agree. This level of no makeup makes me think that she just was pressed for time and didn't. Like, ran out of time,
I will say,
Valentina style.
I will say, though, interestingly, you bring up a point that it's a no makeup look. I don't know if I would agree with that, but I do question anyone who wears a wig that basically looks the same or like the cheaper version of their own hair. She was wearing the wig version of her boy hair, so it's a complete boot in every sense for me. Do I think it was the worst look in either the entrance looks or the challenge this week? No, but it was bad.
Which look did you think was worse?
Which entrance look? Or
yeah, I would say this was the worst for me.
Oh no, I told you I had 4. There are 2 more, and I think both of them are worse. Raja O'Hara's look was cheap. The panty shape was wrong. The earrings fell off like 85 times. And I know she said extra, extra because it was supposed to be newspaper print, but it took me like 2 times watching to even realize that's what the print on part of the dress was. Just everything about it was unflattering. The like weird soiled color, like this like off cream, like something that was once white but will never again be white color. So gross. I don't actually want to spend any more words talking about Raja's look because it sucked.
I actually really liked Raja's entrance look, and it may be a bias because she reminds me personally of another queen who's very close to my heart. I didn't hate it. Like, I clocked that it was newsprint from the start. If the first impression is that it's newsprint, then it's like, oh, okay, and the shape is, like, realized. It's not a cut that's I don't know. I liked it. I don't know how else to back it up. It seems to me more put together than a lot of the other entrance looks.
I just like it. The crotch is all wrong, and it looks like it's uncomfortable to wear. And her earrings were attached with like hopes and prayers. You know, like
the earrings moment was embarrassing. They were real shady to keep including those moments for her.
How could you not?
Actually, speaking of the edit, on Mercedes' entrance, did you catch the Lee Dawson repeat loop edit of her? They just extended it like 4 times as long.
Oh no, I guess I didn't, but. I don't know. I enjoyed Mercedes' little intro. I don't really know Mercedes very well. Let's preface this. She is from Minneapolis. I think she works at 90s, and I don't really go to 90s very much.
I saw her win Miss Gay 90s, the pageant, and then I saw her perform like a couple other scattered nights.
She seems really nice, but I'm already worried for her because I think she's too quiet for the show. The worst look of all the entrance looks was Kahana Montrese.
I would agree. I don't know. It's between her and I guess at least Scarlett had like a concept she was going for, whereas this is just sort of hodgepodge. I was also not thrilled about Ariel's look, even though maybe it was more realized. I just thought that the execution of it was kind of, it just didn't really...
Yeah,
it just seemed kind of basic.
The actual garment was pretty stupid. I gave her more of a pass just because I thought that the hair and the makeup were on par with what I would expect. So I don't think it qualifies as bad as the other 4 that I looked at, but certainly nothing special.
Were there any that you really liked?
Funny you should ask. No. If I were hard...
Okay.
If I were hard-pressed to pick a favorite, I think I would have to say Vanjie. Although I think the main problem with her look is that, 1, the fabric seemed not so luxe, and 2, there was way too much of this gold body glitter that she clearly couldn't wash off herself because it was also on her chest for the runway. But despite that, I think I'd probably pick that as my favorite look. Who do I think looked the best? Plastique by far, but I didn't like her garment, so... I
thought that Brooklyn Heights really looked put together. I didn't like... The only thing that I thought was like not totally correct... Well, there were 2 things. On Photo Fashion Review, I think they point out the hat is like suede material and everything else is shiny. But also the boot looks to be a slightly different gold than the other gold ornamentation.
Sure,
and it just makes me think like all this is together and then she just like put a boot that almost matches.
Well, yeah, I would agree with that.
But other than that, it seems clean.
I would agree with that. I think shoe, hat, and garment are all 3 separate categories that don't quite gel. But I agree with whoever in the workroom said it was just kind of like basic costumey drag. Like, sure, it looked good. I would give her $5, maybe. She really hits it out of the park by the end of the episode, but I think that execution at Runway is much better than this entrance look.
Is there anything notable that you observed in the mini challenge?
The only thing I would say is I don't really understand why Vanjie didn't win for having Pheromone literally turn around and then she stood in front of her. Like, that's brilliant. Yeah. She should have won just for that. I mean, the winner of some of these mini challenges is arbitrary as it is. I don't really know why Silky won. I didn't think her photo was that exceptional at all. But I also don't remember almost anyone's photo because they decided to cut all of this out so that we could hear Silky talk all episode about nothing, saying the same tagline 85 times, picking up Miley Cyrus, being a general fool. I really thought I would like Silky, and she has made me so annoyed in like no time at all. So I mean,
it seems like there was so much hype about her going into the season, and like there was that video where she's dancing in the street, gets on the post office truck. Clearly they chose her to win for this in order to build up that first episode storyline. I also think Vanjie should have won. That was the most original take on the challenge.
Right.
Did you catch any shots of RuPaul and the queens during the mini challenge together in the same shot?
Yeah, I think for a couple of them there were. Or were you thinking that she just wasn't there and they edited, like, spliced it together? I don't think so, because I
was a little suspicious.
I think it was Sugar Cane where they show a camera angle of, like, the camera almost in, like, the photo shoot space that shows Ru and the photographer and her. I think that happened. I might be crazy. But
okay, no, that makes me feel better.
I think she was there.
I fully, like halfway through, they kept cutting back and forth, and I started looking for it, and I guess there weren't any shots of them together in the second half of it. But then I thought, like, oh my god, like this was run by a showrunner producer, and then like they gave Ru scripted lines to film after the season was done filming, and the conspiracy theorist really jumps out. Did you like Miley in general as like a presence on the show?
Yeah, more or less, yeah. I thought her discussion after she was revealed was a little forced. But I feel like she generally thinks those things. It's clear that she's an actual fan, which is nice. And I thought she did a good job at judging, although she didn't really contribute much.
I would agree. It seems like she's a genuine fan. There's a video of her voguing to, I forget the song. It's either a Ru song or one of the girls' songs. Okay. But I'm like, okay, she's really into voguing right now.
Yeah.
But actually, she's also done a lot for queens relative to other pop stars who like prop up drag queens in the public eye. So.
And she deserves the credit for that, so I agree. All right, I'm ready to move on to Runway if you are.
I guess let's start with your boots.
Actually, if you want to do, like, because I don't have that much to say about everyone's looks, but I did, when I was watching the episode, give everyone a score out of 10, just on my first impression, if you want to hear all of those, and then we can, because some of them I think actually deserve a higher or lower score than I gave, but I'm happy to run through them at just a super high level, because we got 15 queens, and that's too many. First was Plastique. I said it was safe, but I gave her an 8.5 out of 10.
I would have probably given her a 6.
Well, you will see that it's almost impossible to earn a 10 from me, but that in general, I'm somewhat charitable with the numbers, and it takes a lot to get a lower score. Brooklyn, I wrote high impact, and I gave her 9.25 out of 10, which is pretty good. Honey, I said it was safe, and I gave her 8 out of 10. It's the first episode. I'm being charitable. I don't like a peplum in general, but I will say that she clearly made that peplum herself, or I hope she did, and didn't just attach it from that box.
She has to, like, bunch it up and then, like, sew the little divots together. Is there, like, wiring in it to make it, like, stand up?
Probably not, no.
What Ben de la Creme look is this the pattern material referencing?
I feel like that was her Banshee Girl look from their ball. It's pink and it's kind of cheap.
The length of this is the only thing that really annoys me. Like, it could have been either, like, a little shorter or a little longer.
I just mostly found it boring. Next was Ariel. I didn't like this at all. I gave it an 8 to be courteous because the shape was flattering and it seems well constructed.
I think the concept was creative enough. Like, the concept probably saved her. Not really.
She was given a box of Laganja and her concept was green and pot. That's not creative at all.
But it's also like Poison Ivy.
It wasn't really reading that to me at all. I thought it was. I thought it was like the most basic dance costume, and that she's lucky she wasn't in the bottom for this.
I saw Poison Ivy before I saw the Weed Leaves, so I mean, I'm also like a comics nerd. But if that was the intention, then I give her points because it's like merging those two concepts.
Sure.
Making something creative.
Okay, next was Evie Oddly. And I wrote, she sells this well, but IRL 7.25 out of 10, which is actually a pretty bad score, if you ask me. I didn't understand the styling of the accessories with this. I thought it was not very well made. To me, this is one of the people where it makes you beg the question, what is the real and most important criteria that we're judging on here? Because it is a sewing challenge. Yet for a lot of these girls, they were judged more harshly on whether or not they sold the garment and had presence on the runway. And so that seems to be the criterion by which Evie was given a pass, you know? And the main criterion by which they gave Brooklyn a win, even though I think sewing a latex catsuit that fits yourself that well is a skill and a sewing challenge win, and not just like, oh, you commanded attention. So I don't know. I have some qualms overall with their judging.
I think since it's the first episode, they're also judging on, and like the challenge wasn't super clear because they had to have their own essence through the materials of a past queen, but also they got extra bonus points if there was like a wink to that previous queen, or like they could tell those were Detox's materials or whatever. Right. But I think it was like a blend of, this is the first episode, will she make an impression that lasts, like can she carry through, as well as the actual execution?
She made an impression. Her whole thing is like this vague shock value, which seems to be realized more through her saying that she's shocking than doing anything that shocking or different. She may prove me wrong, but that has got her through one episode. I don't think it should get her through any more than 3, but we'll see. They might.
Really? I thought you'd be a fan of her. Just because of the avant-garde.
Now, she could prove me wrong. I think the general category of thing that she's trying to sell herself as is totally my thing, and I could get into it. But so far, she hasn't proven that to me. She's just said that she is. So I'm waiting for her to do something that makes me actually, like, get behind her.
For this, the only thing that really annoyed me was the back of it. Like, she came and turned around the corner. I thought that, like, from the chest up, the hood thing, maybe it was just that, like, if the wind had blown, it would have gotten completely unraveled. But it was placed and sitting properly. The back was entirely just, like, rags.
I think some of the other girls who had bad looks could have taken more of a page from her book in, like, how to sell a bad garment. In fact, I think in general that would be a good challenge in the future for these girls, like whether it's a maxi challenge or not, like a mini challenge or something. Give them all bad garments that are falling apart, that aren't like really well made, and the challenge is for them to like make it look good and model it well. This is better as a mini challenge.
Okay,
just give them something that has like clear sewing flaws or like is structurally really ugly on purpose, and they're supposed to sell it to you. Sell me the garment. Club 96.
Where is Serena Cha-Cha? Does she need a gig?
Akira Chanel Davenport was next. I said,
yes,
I don't like this, but it's an 8.5 out of 10 because it deserves it. It's well made. It looks good. It has visual impact. It's not my personal taste. And I think the styling with the hair is, like, kind of a lot. I will give it the props that it's due. It's one of the best looks on this runway.
There are, like, little things about it, but it's very hard to nitpick when you realize how little time they had to make this and how involved this look was. I would have liked a few embellishments on the boots because they're the only part that doesn't have... It's like another, like, suede situation where the boots are they're very matte. Overall, this was obviously a very good amount of work for the amount of time that she had.
I agree. Next was Tammy Brown with an IE, a.k.a. Scarlet Envy.
This is true.
She looked exactly like Tammy Brown. She painted exactly like Tammy Brown. But I'm not mad at this look. I thought it was pretty good. I gave it an 8.75 out of 10.
I thought this should have been in the top, personally. I feel like
I could agree with that.
It was well made. There was nothing about it that wasn't right. And you also get Violet. I don't know if that's even part of the challenge, but like she did a good job of merging something that was clearly Violet's aesthetic, but also having her own take on it.
Right.
I like that she went with blonde hair instead of like a darker color or her red hair.
Right.
She's going to like be dodging Michelle's "you wear the same hair every time" thing if she wears red next week. So I thought this was great.
I feel bad for Soju. I gave this a 6 out of 10 and said this isn't a car crash if it's Hanbok inspired. And then she did turn around and it got worse. I actually don't think it's the worst look on this runway. She could have shown a little bit more than people give her credit for. I think a lot of people preseason thought she would go home first, and she did. And a lot of them still think she would have and should have regardless of the first challenge. And I don't know if I necessarily agree with that.
They push this narrative that because she's a social media star, she's not a performer. And like, we saw her perform in Minneapolis. Okay, she's not like doing death drops or whatever, but she was fully like breaking boards with her hands. Like she had a whole concept. I have yet to see another queen do martial arts on stage.
Exactly.
I'm sure there are many others, but like she's the one I saw, and I thought that she was a performer. Even in like moments of the lip sync, like if you look past the amount of fabric weighing her down, she clearly knows how to like interpret a song, give it a character, and sell it. So I had issues with that being a narrative that they like plugged away with a lot of help from Ariel and her interviews.
I agree 100%, and I hope that you bookmark this little audio clip for when Ariel Versace lands in the bottom, because I don't think she's a very good lip syncer at all, and I would love to see her get eliminated after one lip sync. So just saying.
Whoop. Oh my.
I mean, that's the real tea, because she is calling out Soju for not being a, quote, performer, and I am waiting to see Ariel perform. Just saying. I'll be first in line, sis.
I saw a video actually this morning of her at Mickey's doing a telephone medley, and I was not riveted. As a certain someone says, I was so bored.
Yeah. I just think it's so ironic, okay? Because other than Soju, the one person who you could point to as being the social media queen who's not a performer, all of that in quotes, is literally Ariel Versace. It seems like a defense mechanism.
That's fair. You spot it, you got it. She's like projecting. Okay, I see that. I see that. Maybe they'll like loop in an inner saboteur moment, do a flashback. Raja O'Hara.
I thought this look was horrible. I said it looked cheap, and I gave it a 6.5 out of 10.
Fair enough. I hated the belt. Everything else kind of was okay for me. I probably would have given her like a 7. I really like her walk. I mean, if we're talking about just selling the garment, I think that she's got one of the best walks of anybody this season.
But I don't think she sold these shitty garments. You know who I do think sold these shitty garments? Like Ragstock, Party City, Spencer's.
Okay. Next up we have Mercedes with what I think is a pretty bland look.
See, here's the thing. I thought it was boring, but I still gave it a 7.5 out of 10. It fit her well, and I liked her makeup. I don't necessarily know that she was the bottom 4 for me. We haven't talked about Sugarcane, but I thought that Sugarcane and Raja, their looks were both bad and they didn't really sell me anything. And I thought Evie's look was worse, but she sold her way out of being below Mercedes.
I think the thing that got Mercedes is like the simplicity of the look, because it does just look like a bathing suit with some fabric over the top.
But
it's more of a safe.
I didn't like Sugarcane's makeup or hair either, and I wrote, I'm so bored, 80s prom.
The top of her outfit does look well made, though. Like, the fit of it is at least together.
Sure.
And it doesn't look like the easiest material to work with.
Yeah.
I guess that gives her a pass. The shoe is awful. And I would agree that the hair and makeup were not necessarily right. The construction, I think, saved her with that. So next up, we have Miss Vanessa Mateo.
She killed it. The only note I wrote down was presence, and then I underlined the word presence. I gave this a 9.25 out of 10. The only thing I don't like about this is that she still has the gold body glitter on from before. I wouldn't have been mad if they chose her to win. I think the correct choice was made, but yeah, very clearly top 2 here overall.
I didn't mind the gold body glitter. I mean, now that you noted, like, it was hard to take off and it wasn't necessarily planned, that does annoy me a little. Mm-hmm. But I think the only nitpick I had was, like, on her left side, the fabric kept folding over to show the empty inside of it. Maybe she could have, like, sewed that part down more, because it did seem consistently that the left side was opening up whenever she would stop to pose. Okay. But, like, that is a really small thing in an ocean of right.
Silky, okay, so when she first came out, I wrote out, this is cute, 9 out of 10. And then I crossed it out because there's a lot of construction problems with this.
Completely agree. The back piece is just, like, very obviously unfinished. She just, finished out the front and then realized she didn't have enough time and was like, all right, I'll just put a cape over it and hopefully they won't notice that the back of it is unfinished. The top boob diamond moment, it's, like, puckering all over. This is super messy.
I was worried that they were going to put her on the top for this because the presentation was cute. You know, she sold well, but this look was not the look.
I hope she grows on me because I really I was down to like her.
I know. I feel like I've been really harsh on her, and it's weird to me because, like, before anything aired, I was sure she was going to be, like, my favorite queen.
Maybe they're building her up for an arc where she realizes, like, that she's been really annoying. We see an authentic side of her, and then she's, like, sickening the rest of the season or something.
Maybe.
Then we have Miss
Nina West.
Nina West. The legend.
This look sucked. I gave it a 6.25 out of 10.
This, I would say, was worse than Soju's for me, too.
Yeah, I agree. Mm-hmm. And the thing is, I expect more from her as well.
There's not even, like, the thought of a cohesive look here.
And the thing is, she's funny, so it wasn't even, like, she didn't even make it funny how tacky and in bad taste and ugly it was, you know?
Her legendary status is clearly what saved her here. The judges must have just thought, this is, like, so uncharacteristic of what we know her potential is.
I mean, she is a legend and she's well known, but I don't think her legend status functions quite the way that you're describing it there.
What do you think saved her, though?
What saved her is the fact that Kahana and Soju were more of a mess, kind of. Nina's dress was ugly, but it was finished.
The little appliques don't read finished to me. It's at least not falling off.
Yeah.
I kind of wish one of the GameCube CDs would have fallen off, though.
Oh my god.
I just don't.
I love my GameCube. I still have it somewhere.
So do we.
Underrated console.
It's a little handle. They should dress up like video game consoles. That should be a challenge.
Like the consoles? Why not just like video game characters?
Yes, like the console. No, skip the characters, get to the console. I want to see someone try and be a memory card.
I don't like that challenge at all.
The GameCube microphone accessory from Mario Party 6.
This sounds really
That's what I
stupid.
want to see on the runway.
David, this is a dumb idea.
Lastly, we have Miss Kahana in a boot. This is terrible.
This look is worse than Soju, is what I wrote down. And I think that there's no concept here at all. I don't think you can say she has any finished garment. Like, her boob was fully hanging out of what she had to the point where she had to wear her existing bra, which should disqualify you from this challenge because you're supposed to make your look, you know.
Yeah, I wish that they must have just not noticed, because they would have made a moment out of that, right? Like,
no,
they would have.
I feel like they, like, because now they have to, like, censor the male nipple even, or the elusive presentation of the female nipple. They're, like, way doing the most with their censorship now. So I feel like they told her that she couldn't just wear boy titty with, like, nothing there, you know? And so she put that same bra on. That's a conspiracy theory. Whatever the case, Kahana is in the unfortunate position of people who are fated to be eliminated second. It's almost better to go home first because, you know, there's the embarrassment or whatever, but maybe you'll get called back or maybe people will pity you. When you're the person who goes home second and everyone kind of has justification to feel like you should have gone home instead of their fave because you're a mess, and then you roll up the next episode equally a mess, don't do anything, and get eliminated and everyone feels happy about it, then you kind of have, like, nowhere to go from there. If she does not go home next episode, I am going to be mad. And that's even worse for her than going home second.
She and Soju are in the bottom, and they lip sync. And honestly, even, like, at the end of it...
Hold on.
Okay.
Why the fuck were they
do the best of both worlds.
Why the fuck were they lip syncing to the best of both worlds from Hannah Montana? Why?
I don't know how they cleared that, how they got the rights, but yeah, that was silly. It was really silly. This is almost so like dumb. What we would say after an episode, like, we wish they had lip synced to, but it's a reality. The sun is setting. We have, like, 3 minutes.
Okay.
So the lip sync.
There's not a whole lot to say about the lip sync. You know, Soju couldn't really move. I think that she did perform, like, she was doing stuff with her face. I don't think she was blown out of the water, but Kahana just, like, did better on the basis of the fact that she could do a flip. Wow, hooray.
I don't think that there was anything really sort of graceful about Kahana's dancing. It seemed very athletic. Basically, she was on a loop until she did the flip. There was, like, a lot of gesturing to herself, and it just seemed very, like, generic and kind of going through the motions of it. Yeah. Whereas with Soju, like, yes, she was weighted down by all this fabric. There was a moment where she tried to, like, do a reveal with her glove. I think there was glitter in it.
You know there was not anything in that glove, David. Sasha Velour may have changed the game, but there was nothing in that glove. She just took it off. There was nothing for the camera
to... took off you think that she literally just took off a glove? That was the whole spinning moment,
take off a glove. I think Soju's problem is that she should have recognized that her look was likely to land her in the bottom, and so she should have worn something under it. Just let it fall apart and get out of it into, like, nothing and just, like, dance around and save yourself. You know what I mean? Do I feel like she was robbed or anything? No. She kind of deserved to go home. But Kahana sucks, and I want her to go home too. And there's a lot of other girls in this cast who do not interest me in the slightest, and they can get chopped too. So,
all right. Well, I am literally filming in front of, like, a set sun. I'm in the dark. So
well, I've enjoyed our time together. It's good to talk to you. I haven't seen you in a long time, girl. I like being the special phone guest because, I like to turn a look, but it's also nice to not have to worry.
We'll just do, a new picture of the week. You can just, like, it'll literally just be of the clothes if you want. You can just, like, take a picture of an outfit.
Just, like, a still picture of the outfit.
Just, like, laid out, and then, like, that'll just be
my
for the week.
It'll just be a still shot of one of my...
Thank you so much for joining me, Foster, thank you guys so much for watching. We're very excited to hear your thoughts on season 11, so let us know if you agreed, disagreed, or what your faves are to make it all the way. And until next time, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you very soon. All right, bye.
Bye.